Would you look at that? Another Victory Monday. That's right. 10 of these on the season. Certainly can get used to it, but need a few more Victory Mondays here to get into the NFL playoffs. What a beautiful thing to be talking about. We're going to be talking about it all here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Right now, it's Packer Week. Let's go. Welcome back to CHGO Bears After Dark, presented by our good friends over at Circa Sports, Illinois. Make sure you're hitting up circasports.com for all your gambling needs as we get into this Victory Monday with our good friends over at Circa Sports, Illinois. I am your host, Greg Braggs Jr. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Rank and Phil Ottochian and Shayne Marsaw should be joining us here in just a little bit. He's on the road, and I think he'll be joining us here later on. But let's get into it, boys. It is Packer Week. It's a Victory Monday. It's been a lot of fun this season as a Bears fan, but now we've reached kind of the precipice of playoff realities. Rank, I'll start with you. You made the trek to Chicago in the frigid cold. You were in the stands with the fans at Soldier Field celebrating our Chicago Bears. So, what was that experience like? What was the atmosphere like of one of the biggest home December wins in quite some time?
It was really amazing. First of all, not being allowed into the CHGO tailgate. No, I'm just kidding. I was bundled up. And they're like, hey, do you have a wristband? And then Crystal jumped up. She's like, it's Adam Rank. And I'm like, okay, let me take off all this gear. No, but a great time. It was fun to be out there at the tailgate party, to meet a lot of the fans. Everybody was so gracious, and it was fun to talk to everybody and really I've had these experiences recently, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get out to Chicago is as much fun as it is to go see the Bears play at SoFi Stadium and in Phoenix and Santa Clara and Vegas and all those spots. It's I really just want to go back to Chicago and go and witness that. And the fun thing is I ended up in front of Jeff Joniak's booth, and I tried to get his attention, and the security were like, leave him alone. And I'm like, okay. And then I texted. So I took a photo of me in front of his booth, and I sent it to him, and he's like, why didn't you try to get our attention? I'm like, I tried, Jeff. They ushered. Security was doing their job. They don't know who I am. It's fine. It's not somebody who worked for the team. It was one of the red jacket people who has no idea. It's probably going to DePaul or whatever, and is like, I'm doing this job and I'm out here in -4 degrees or whatever it was. But it was an amazing situation to be a part of. So much fun to be there. I know it's Packers week and I'm talking way too much, but I want to say that there is something significant about the fact that we have the lowly Cleveland Browns sandwiched in between two games against the Packers. Lesser teams, we've seen this time and time again throughout the entirety of the NFL. So many teams overlook these perceived lesser opponents. We went out there and just put a butt whooping on the Cleveland Browns. There was a time when we had more touchdowns than they had first downs, and we went out there and took care of business, which gives me a lot of confidence heading into Packer Week.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't take any game for granted. I mean, the Browns beat the Packers earlier this year, right? So, that when you talk about this coming down right to the wire, I mean, that ultimately could be the difference, right? Is the Bears beat the Browns and the Browns beat the Packers. You got to win those games. Those are must-win kind of games. And Phil, they didn't just win, they win going away. Caleb Williams has one of his best days under center as the quarterback of this team. And instead of playing with their food like maybe they had on some of lesser opponents earlier in the season, they're not messing around at this point. As he's good.
Great game for Caleb Williams to showcase what he does. It got a little shaky. The 14-point lead felt weird to me for a little while there with Ben and some of the play calling, but they really hammered it home. I know Ben identified DeMarco Jackson's interception as the turning point to kind of put the foot on the neck of the Browns and put them away. And I felt like that was really also big play and moment for confidence for this football team in this game. But, Caleb, I said, best throw I've ever seen a Chicago Bear make, legendary status in that moment. It was just one of those things where you're just, no, just throw it away. And it's just picture perfect. I can't say it enough for people. I know early, and Adam actually took something my dad had said, but my dad was like, this kid's like John Elway, but better. And that's really what you see him able to do out there. And to go against the number 2 defense in the league and put up those numbers and have all those naysayers. I know Shady McCoy and all these clowns out there saying Shador was going to be better than this kid. And it's just, at this point, if Bears fans can't see this guy for who he is on a plane of, I don't even know where the ceiling ends for this kid's ability. That's an era of football the Bears have never had. And that's really where we are right now. And I just felt like it was a great performance by him. I thought his receivers and tight ends dropped some balls that should have been caught or would have been in their completion percentage. Game would have been even better for that situation, for that narrative to go away, Greg.
Yeah. I mean, from an accuracy standpoint, I mean, I know he was over 60% completion percentage. And once again, the receivers, like you said, have still had trouble hanging on to the football at times. That does happen when you're throwing 30 times or more in a game, but probably has happened more frequently for the Bears maybe than others. I don't have the exact stats in front of me in terms of how they fare in the rankings of drops for teams, but that's certainly been an element here. And so, bringing it back to Ben Johnson though, Adam, like a year ago at this time, 10-game losing streak. And now we're talking about a team with 10 wins and with 3 games to go. I mean, this is one of the more remarkable turnarounds, and maybe some people felt it coming, but like, now that we're in the moment here, it does feel somewhat surreal. Maybe because, as we've said so many times in the past and had been wrong, this feels different. But it is kind of what you keep climbing back to when you look at what we're dealing with as Bears fans.
Yeah, there's a real possibility that I'm going to have to owe Ben Johnson an apology for underselling him this season, because I said coming into this year that the Bears were going to win 11 games, and I might not have given them enough credit. And so I don't know. I don't want to jinx it by saying anything like that, but it is, it really does show you how much coaching matters in the NFL. And I think that one of the things that Phil always talks about is finding your identity in who you are. And it's a nice departure when we're having these conversations. And I appreciate, one of the things I loved talking to Phil about is, and I'm saying this like Phil's not sitting right next to me, but the thing, but we can have these conversations about, there are times, and I agree with this, that I disagree with some of the things that Ben Johnson is calling. I'm like, I don't know if I would have done that. I might have gone a different direction. I would rather have done this. I would have rather have done that. I will 100% take those conversations, as opposed to, I don't think this guy knows what he's doing as a leader of people. Like, I don't know why he's in this situation, because the most important thing now, obviously we want Ben Johnson to be 100 for 100 on his play calls. But the fact that the Bears went out there, and again, I'll reiterate this point, in a game that could have been the mail-in, like a game, like it's cold, it's frigid. A lot of people didn't want to be out there. A lot of fans didn't want to be out there, but he got that team motivated and ready to go to the point of like, they're ready to play this football game. They're prepared to play this football game. They're going out there. They're putting their players in a proper position to win. I thought that one of the follow-up questions today that was asked by the media, where they were asking about that Luther Burden play, like, hey, was that designed or was that ad-libbed? And Ben was like, no. We saw that in film, and we thought that we could make a big play out of it, and Luther Burden goes out there and does it. The fact that our conversations are like, hey, this could have been better than it was, as opposed to like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, because we now know that there is a real identity to this football team. When you think about with Jonah Jackson just crossing up a guy right before the end of the first half, when you look at Colston Loveland, absolutely not destroying, but like taking out Myles Garrett. When you play the Bears team, you know it. And as much as I love Denver, and I think Denver's a good team, but you could tell, like at the end of that game last night, now obviously the mile high altitude has something to do with it, but you can tell that was a Packers team that had something taken out of them the week before. And I think that's the biggest thing about Ben Johnson, how much of a difference he's made, to where now, like normally, because I'm a worry wart. I do worry a little bit, but I'm not worried about this team's effort, preparation, game plan. Could Ben make, are mistakes possible? Sure. But I'm not questioning the identity of this team, and I'm not questioning the coaching.
Well, and to that point, and you see here, Aid and Olsen here kind of echoing the sentiment, we are too physical here in the chat. And
never can be too physical.
To your point, like too physical as in terms of a good thing against the opponent, because to your point about the identity and how they impose their will and how they really wear teams down, I did a little bit of research myself and brought the Brickalytics to the table, Phil, and I mean, listen, to me, I think this is somewhat telling. There are, I'm sure, are outliers to this point, but there certainly is a trend. And when this is teams' record after playing the Bears. So the next week after they play the Bears, teams are 2-10-1 after playing the Bears. And conversely, the other team that's very good about this, the Broncos, after playing the Broncos, are 3-10. And if you flip this over to the Broncos, go ahead.
If I may take that a step further, only one team this season has won after playing in Denver, and that was Kansas City. So that record's actually a little bit more skewed. That they're one in whatever it is, however many home games they've hosted. Only one team's won after playing in Denver, regardless of whether they won or lost.
Right. So I mean, to that point, Phil, I mean, you're now talking about a team with the Packers that just played both these teams back to back, and now on a short week has to play the Bears again in their house. And this is where war of attrition really comes into play, and what the Bears do up front on that offensive line specifically. And hey, let's give the defensive line some credit here on Sunday. They showed up. They're going to need that kind of effort against Green Bay. But regardless, the physicality of the Bears certainly is something that other teams cannot deny.
It's definitely there, from obviously the Dolphins gate in the summer and them pouting and whining all the way through what we witnessed opening night against the Vikings, and in a letdown. But you could see, to what Adam was talking about, I think it's so important that the team is a reflection of the head coach. It's football. That's it. I always have said the most important free agent is the coach. Until you get a guy that puts winning in front of everything else, money, cap, the tabletop, the new Soldier Field, all of that doesn't matter. Football is the only thing. This guy is that. In every game this season, since the Vikings opener, which I was there with you, Greg, I have never gone away saying the Bears were unprepared. The Bears were outcoached. It's, Adam, you hit it perfectly there. I really respect you as a friend and brother. Like what you just said was, I hope Bears fans can attach to it. You know, the guy has a plan. We're not going to agree with like that 3rd and 1. I'm like, run the ball and get the first
100%.
down. Let's not throw. But I feel comfortable going into Green Bay with this guy and his attitude and his energy to attack the weaknesses and come in with a bully's mentality. And you could see it when DeMarco Jackson gets the game ball. There is a sentiment in the locker room. We got business this weekend. Like, we're looking already to the next game. And that's from a guy that just got in the building this year, you know? So he's being born into this, and it's right there in front of all the fans. It's really something that gives me, you know, real pause, because I've been waiting for this for so long, Greg. I've been waiting for a coach to take over the beloved Bears and have his identity and passion to win and go out there and put it all together. And it really is, from under center to running the ball. We're running counter plays. Ottochian's playbook was out there. I'm like, let's go. If it wasn't for a few missed blocks, there'd be bigger plays and a couple drops by Manungai on the screen. But all that to be said, I've not felt like this in a long time, going into probably the biggest game that we have ever played in the last, 10 years.
It's certainly the biggest home game since 2018.
Yeah.
You can make an argument it's even bigger because when the Bears played the Packers that year, that game, the Packers were already kind of buried in a lot of ways as a team. Like, this is one of the more rare matchups at home on primetime, Bears-Packers in December, where both teams, whoever wins, is leading the NFC North with 2 weeks to go. The implications of this game are just tremendous, and it's a lot of fun. It's exciting. It's terrifying. It's everything, and that's what we sign up for. That's what we waited all these years for, and it's exciting. John Kramer here in the chat with a $5 super chat says, the difference is that this team is very well coached, has an identity, and has strong momentum and great vibes, which I think is underrated in the NFL. 100% with you there, John. When it comes to momentum and confidence, and the Bears certainly have that in droves. We're going to take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we'll look at the landscape of the playoff picture. Still get into more of this game here as it goes on. Shayne Marsaw should be joining us here later on in the program, but either way, we're going to be holding it down here. But want to get to some playoff talk, and some other things on the docket, obviously, with the Packers suffering a tremendous loss to their defensive front. And that certainly will kind of set the tone for how this whole playoff picture takes shape. So don't go away. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and 2 minutes away, and we will come back with more Chicago Bears playoff talk. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. They are always taking care of the people. So bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, whether it's spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it for you. Make sure you fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. And hey, we have reached the gauntlet here. That is the Chicago Bears season. 3 playoff teams on the horizon. Packers, Niners, Lions, 3 big-time challenges and 3 opportunities for you to make some money against Vegas. Right now, they got the Bears as home dogs. Maybe if you throw some money on the Bears, you might come away with some money in your pocket. So download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, make sure you call 1-800-GAMBLER. And also got to give a shout-out to our good friends over at Shady Rays. That's right. These guys are changing the game when it comes to sunglasses because they're made for real life, seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive. And hey, if you were at the Bears game here, or if you're at the tailgate, you're out there with your friends and you lose your sunglasses, you break them, you might have accidentally stepped on them with the slippery conditions, all this ice everywhere. Here's the wildest part about Shady Rays. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair, no guilt trip, just replacements. So now you can wear your sunglasses without fear because Shady Rays has your back. And we've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses and try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right, we are back here on CHGO Bears After Dark, and joining the program here as promised is Shayne Marsaw here of Tape Never Lies Network fame. And Shayne, we're going to get into some of the playoff picture talk, but seems like a good spot for you. I mean, when we talked a few weeks ago going into Black Friday, and I know your disdain for the Philadelphia Eagles with some of the family ties involved there, but I mean, I thought you said it pretty profoundly how this was a moment in Black Friday against the Eagles that the Bears could make a statement in the Ben Johnson era. Well, if that was a statement, then what is Saturday?
It's time to kick the door in.
Yeah,
that's where you're at now. You have to win this game. There's no other way around it. You cannot lose to Green Bay on your turf with everything on the line, with everything that's going on with them and everything that you have at stake. You have to go out there. You have to slay the dragon on your home turf and kick the door down and let everybody know that we're here, we're for real. And once you get into the dance, you may not stop for a while. Anything can happen. The NFC is up in the air right now, completely.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about the last time the Bears played the Packers, I mean, this is 2 times in 3 weeks. When you talk about this being such a unique game, Bears-Packers in December, it's also unique in the fact, Adam, that it's 2 of the last 3 weeks. I mean, I feel like the last 3 After Dark shows we've done were 1 for Packer Week leading up, 2 for reaction to the Packers game before, and now 3, we've already turned the page on the Browns, and now it's Packer Week again. So it's felt like 3 straight weeks of Bears versus Packers and everything at the top of the NFC North swinging back and forth. And when the Bears lost to the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, not all, but some fans were kind of upset, rightfully so, for, being tormented by this franchise and saying things like same old Bears. And it feels like to me, this is their opportunity to just they've proved it to everyone that they're a good team. They're a better team working on being the best they possibly can. They've proved that they can be in the playoffs. They've had statement wins, but to me, this kind of is like the final, like Shayne said, to slay the dragon of taking this moniker of same old Bears and drowning it in Lake Michigan.
No, it is. I mean, you have to go out and prove it. And I think, and again, everybody wants to just sort of dismiss the fact that the Bears won last year in Lambeau. Like that apparently didn't count or whatever. And fair enough, because there comes a time where you just got to go out there and put it on the field. And we can sit out here and we talk about this time and time again about coaching matters, everything about, the identity and all that stuff. Okay, cool. We've now come to the point of we have to execute this and make the statement on Saturday, And there is always going to be some sort of hesitation because I think that we have so much PTSD when it comes to the Packers to where you'll never really allow yourself to feel truly comfortable. But there is no reason to not have the utmost confidence in Ben Johnson. And I, honestly, when I watch the way he behaves on the sidelines, it's just like he's just such a sociopath as a coach to where it's like he just won't let anything, he's just so just in his bag, so to speak. But it's like he doesn't get upset. He gets upset at officials, he'll quit, but it doesn't come off the way that some other coaches make it come off. And I think that there's something about his grinders mentality that ultimately is going to prevail here in Chicago. And I think about this coming week. And again, we should have a lot of confidence in this. And we talked about this on Saturday night. We've moved past the point of And for anybody who is skeptical about this, we should now have moved past the point of like being nervous about things like this. Because I know even going in a Sunday's game, there are people like, yeah, I still sort of want to believe in the Bears, but the Browns are coming off a big performance against Tennessee and doing this. But at some point, you got to step up and be like, no, that time, they might as well have been the Decatur Staleys because it's a completely different team. And we have a new mentality of going out there and buying in. Like we were sitting there and we were watching the commercials. I was going back and just watching some of these plays and some of the things the Bears are doing offensively and defensively. Like, dude, that kind of stuff travels. It kind of plays. And I think that, you know what, we're going to see it come full circle on Saturday. And so I'm getting more and more excited as I sit here and talk about it.
Well, Phil, as we were talking about it earlier, how the Bears and Browns are kind of notorious this season for kind of beating up on teams. Well, the Broncos certainly did that with the Green Bay Packers, in a shootout. I don't know if my heart can take too many simultaneous Lions and Packers shootouts with everything on the line. Like they were both like neck and neck at both going into the fourth quarter at the same time. It was terrifying, but both ended up going in the Bears' direction. Now, that being said, maybe the most impactful moment of the regular season in the NFL happens in that game, not just because the Packers lost, but Micah Parsons tears his ACL and is out for a year. And obviously that changes the implications of the playoff picture, but for specifically this Sunday, it's kind of an obvious statement, but as somebody that really values a game plan and how an offense can attack a defense in that regard, like, how big of a change now is this for Green Bay that doesn't have this weapon X that they can move all over the field?
Well, it's definitely going to hurt them. I think it's the next man up mentality, and that's what they're going to play it as. Lucas Van Ness, obviously out of Iowa, coming out, has a lot of upside, but he's not the pass rusher aficionado and game wrecker that Micah Parsons is and can be. He's not as versatile. So as far as chess in football is concerned, Ben and company are going to be relieved that they don't have to worry about some of the alignments that he creates, mismatches interior. With Van Ness, you're kind of just getting what it is. So ultimately, you dodge a bullet, but you still have a war to go on. It's not like what everybody thinks it is, because there's still a very good front with Gary and company up there. And listen, I'm not that guy. And it's not a fantasy football shot. I'm just using it as a coloring book here for you. But in fantasy world, all these people are like, yeah, he's out. We're winning no matter what. I see Packer fans throwing in the towel on the season because they lost. That's not how this game works. Like, you're still a very good football team. It's a rivalry game. There's so much on the line. As much as I dislike the Packers and their head coach, I'm not a fan of his. Just see through his personality. That's for another show. He's still a very good coach, and he'll have this team prepared. So you dodge a bullet with what they could do in chess, but ultimately your identity in this game needs to take over, and Caleb Williams is going to have to be the guy that we know he is in this must-win game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think just in regard of the one thing that stands out to me with Micah Parsons being out isn't just that that's something that Ozzie Trapillo or Darnell Wright or wherever Mike is lined up, they have to be aware of and be ready to get beat, just like Myles Garrett, beat,
Right.
The man across from him multiple times, and a few times that was on Ozzie, even when Ozzie was getting chip up. That just happens when you have an elite player like that. But I also do think it has a big impact on how Ben Johnson, excuse me, on so much yelling yesterday during the game, but on how Ben Johnson is able to game plan against the Packers. When you don't know where Mike is going to line up down to down, it's hard for him to kind of play that chess match and stay ahead. So to me, that is a big factor where they might get more photographed looks as opposed to Micah, who, is going to change that optic. But Shayne, on the other side of things, the defensive line finally showed up against the Browns. I know it's just the Browns, and they had like 4 of their 5 offensive linemen out, but another pretty significant injury, and we'll see how the week progresses. But I know the Packers' right tackle went out, and that's kind of when the floodgates started to open for Denver. Can this defensive line carry over a 5-sack performance against a bad team and do something worth notable against the Packers? Because in my opinion, you're not going to just be able to play zone for 60 minutes. That might be the game plan, but at the end of the day, you got to get to the quarterback on Jordan Love if you want to beat him this week.
100%. And I mean, even listen, preparing for a game without Micah Parsons, I understand the positive, portion of that. But this defense still has to stop the Green Bay offense, and that is a huge issue with the way that the Chicago Bears defense is. So, yeah, and I mean, how many years, go back to the Julius Peppers days when the Bears would line up against Green Bay and they'd say, 3 of the 5 starters are down today. And that was even when you had a big-time pass rusher,
right?
Multiple, and Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be touched. There would be 0 sacks and like 1 pressure. But yeah, this is where Dennis Allen, and listen, he's done a fantastic job all season undermanned. But he's going to have to be creative in the way. Jaquan Brisker can't go solo. Jaquan Brisker is going to be a massive key in this game on Saturday. 100%. Especially if Watson is in there, depending on, if he's in there, because the speed kills this defense.
Yep.
Always. And that is going to be absolutely critical. And you have to. Gervon Dexter, it's time to take off the diapers and be a big boy. Go to big boy school, go out there and play like a second rounder and get after the quarterback. But that's where you're at. Montez Sweat, you got to step up and play like a $95 million player. You need these guys. TJ Edwards has another game under his belt from coming back from the IR. Hopefully you get Edmonds back, and DeMarco Jackson, he's an upgrade from Noah Sewell no matter what. The guy deserves to be out there, deserves the reps, but Dennis Allen is going to have to get creative with how he gets after Jordan Love to get him off of his mark. And then hopefully Jaquan Brisker comes ready to play, because the Bears need him in the secondary. They do.
Yeah, it's crucial. And while we've got a few more minutes here with Rank before we cut him loose, let him hit the road. He's had a long weekend of traveling far and wide. He was at the tailgate. I did big time him. I big timed him the day before. He had this awesome meetup. They did a live show. There's Rank at the tailgate, braving the elements.
Was this before Carm found out that Tyson was sick, or after? Because he looks very happy right there.
So funny story about that picture is I posted on Twitter and I cropped Carm out.
Loved it. That was the best part of it. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, he just jumped in. I didn't ask him to be in that picture. Like, no, let's be in Rank.
Like, this is us. This is the boys. Like, we want to sit here. Even though I know you're joking and saying like you didn't big time, like it's not like you live in the south side of Chicago, and you were able to it's Saturday night. The weather was treacherous. It was freezing and everything, but we did have a good time. I don't want to, it's one of my sponsors, so I won't mention them here, but it's a cool thing. And we're going to plan something for the summer, and hopefully we can have you guys involved too, and do a big thing with like a lot of Bears creators and get out there and have a really good time and get an opportunity for everybody to go out there and do some content and get some cross promotion, because like one of the cool things about the Bears community is there is a lot of cool people and it's a lot of cool perspective, and to talk to some guys that perhaps you don't always get a chance to talk to. And so it was pretty fun. It was a good time. The tailgate was amazing too. Can I say this though? I don't know if this is the proper forum for me to bring this up, and I'm sorry. I know that it's Packers week.
Depends on what you're going to say.
Well, here's the thing. I know this might not be the time to talk about this, but because it just happened to me, I would like to bring it up. is I have been a big like Arlington Heights person. Like, hey, like it makes sense. Like, let's host Super Bowls and do like this. Being there on Sunday, I'm like, I kind of like this. Like, I really like. There is something about being at the stadium and walking around. And I know that obviously they've refurbished it and stuff like that. And like, yeah, for the by and large, this is where my parents would go to football games. And they've walked on this soil and they've done all this stuff. And like something about when we have a coach who can actually take advantage of the cold weather, and we have a quarterback who can whip the ball through the wind. And Kyle Long told a great story about this on CBS on Sunday, where it's like when you have a quarterback who throws through the wind, like, oh, like we actually like bear weather is something. Like we actually have the team to go out there and make it sort of useful. So I'm like, now I'm being wistful. And before anybody says like, yep, I wish they would have never tore down Chicago Stadium. I wish the White Sox were still playing in Comiskey Park. But look at what the Cubs are doing with Wrigley Field. And I don't know. I might be swayed. I might now, again, I will support whatever the Bears do, but I might be like, but if we stay downtown, I don't know. It's okay.
Build paradise. Let's go.
Yeah.
Cut them off. Cut them off.
Yeah. Don't you worry. I mean, when they do build a stadium, it'll be in a dome. Whether it's in Arlington Heights,
I will be there.
Whether it's in Arlington Heights or it's in Chicago, it feels like that's a foregone conclusion. But don't worry, because Soldier Field will be their home for the next 15 years while they still.
Decatur Staleys could play there. Justin Fields will have a team to play for. There you go. It's the best of both worlds.
Oh boy.
My bad.
After all the great things happening, you got to twist the knife. The Hall.
No need.
Hey, Caleb, it is notable that Caleb Williams did pass. I think he moved to 10th or 9th all-time for passer yards in Chicago Bears history, passing Justin Fields, with having even finished his second year in the league. And I think that just kind of shows just the different level of potential that Caleb Williams possesses. And he showed that every bit on his touchdown throw to DJ Moore in the back of the end zone. As Phil.
Wait, who was the person who asked the question about whether that was ill-advised?
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think Jason Leisure.
It wasn't Jason Leisure.
It wasn't Jason?
I know that. No.
Okay. I'd have to go back and look.
But the mic drop was his response to it. That was the mic drop. That was awesome.
That was the best.
Yeah, Caleb said, I can make any throw.
No,
nah.
I can make any throw.
I can make any throw.
Yeah.
Love it.
Nah.
So dismissive of a question that needs to be dismissed immediately. And this is some of the cold-blooded Caleb that a lot of you, not you guys here in this room, but like a lot of you who only saw the second season of Caleb post Heisman Trophy at USC playing behind one of the most atrocious offensive lines ever. Like you didn't get to see, like you probably weren't paying attention to his Heisman Trophy winning season. And this is now the Caleb, like, okay, this is what I expect. Like, this is why a lot of people are excited about this and everybody wanted him aboard. Just watching him go out there and make these plays and just cutting it. I don't know. And it's funny too, because when he made that comment and people are like, Caleb shouldn't be cocky because people are going to come after him. I'm like, they're going to come after him now? Like they haven't already been trying to for the past 2 years. I'm glad he sort of stood up for himself, because he has had to withstand so much BS over the last couple of years. Like, good. I'm glad he said that. Like, no, that he actually needed to say that. He shouldn't avoid making statements like that. We need more of that. And I'm happy to see it.
100% agree.
He also said, because somebody asked him about playing under center. And he said,
that was Carmen Vitale.
Yeah. And he said, yeah, well, I'd heard that I couldn't play under center. And now statistically, we brought this up on the program a few weeks ago, but he's one of the better passers under center this season. They've had most of their explosive plays come out of center. They're running a lot of things out of under center and play action.
Under center more.
Yeah. And another staple of the Ottochian school.
But did you hear Ben today?
Philosophy.
I didn't get to hear his presser today.
Well, if you think that he's going to start running on 3rd and 1, you better buckle up, because he said that's going to.
Well, Yeah, we're going to get into more Caleb Williams talk. I do have some audio from Ben Johnson. I'm not sure if that's the exact quote you're talking about there, Shane, but we do have some audio from Ben Johnson's presser today talking about Caleb Williams, who's always being spotlighted and always with a microscope on everything he does. So we'll bring the microscope out and tell you about one of the bigger days Caleb Williams has had in the Chicago Bears uniform as the quarterback. So Rank, we're going to cut you loose. I'll catch up with you on the Sick Podcast on Wednesday. But this is a big week for the Bears, and it's probably a good thing it's a short week because I don't know if we're going to survive through the stress of the next 5 days. But it's a fun stress, and it's something we wait for, and it's finally here after 11 months since Ben Johnson said he'd be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye to you?
Oh, I got a final thought in that. I just want to thank everybody who, at any event that I was at this weekend, who came up and said hello or did whatever. Thank you. And appreciate all that. And again, I just want to preach one more time, have confidence in this team, have confidence in the ability of this coaching staff to recognize the mistakes that they made in the first half of that Packers game they're not going to be echoed again. And I can't wait to see what they have in store. And I'm with you. I'm glad the game's on Saturday. Although my in-laws did, like, for whatever reason, they're like, we're going to do Christmas on Saturday. You're like,
no, you don't. Christmas is canceled.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But in any event, but I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to get back next Monday and talk about a victory and the Bears closing up. Like, this is going to be the thing, too, of like, then I'm going to have to scramble to get a flight to Santa Clara, because that could be the game that we end up, clinching the North. So who knows?
Yeah, it's good thoughts to have, good problems to have, and no problem with the Ben Johnson Bears. So we're going to take a quick 2-minute timeout as I teased. We'll get into more.
Love you, Adam.
Yeah, we love you very much. Thank you for coming out to the tailgate. You're a good man. And we're going to take a quick timeout, come back to some more Caleb Williams talk. Get into some of the playoff picture. I got some different things for these guys to mull over, so don't go away. Want to give everybody some quick reminders on things happening with CHGO Sports, and when we come back, we'll get into all of that. Hey, guys, want to give you a reminder that this Saturday, you are not going to want to miss our tailgate. That's right. Go to the website at allchgo.com/events. Get your tickets now. We have been doing these for the last 4 years, and I promise you this Sunday is going to be the best one yet. Bears, Packers, prime time, getting flexed, everything on the line, division on the line. What more could you ask for as a Bears fan? You want to come out to this tailgate because it's going to be crazy, and I want to give a shout-out to everybody that came out here for the one in the frigid temperatures here yesterday. Had a great crowd. We had heaters and tents. But don't worry, if you think you're coming out on Saturday, doesn't look like we're going to need heaters because looks like temperatures are starting to rise. So all the more reason to come on out. allchgo.com/events. You won't want to miss it. It is going to be so much fun as we are rooting on our Bears here to get a division title. And hey, if you do come to our tailgates, you want to become a diehard at CHGO Sports because you get a discount on that event when you do. You don't have to be a diehard to come to our tailgates, but if you become one, you get a discount. That's one of the many great perks of becoming a diehard. If you go to allchgo.com/events, you get a free shirt as soon as you sign up. I mean, we've got some amazing designs. Check out our one that just dropped, Good, Better, Best. If you sign up to become a diehard, you can have this shirt as soon as you sign up for free. And then you get discounts on events. Like I said, discounts on future purchases on merchandise. You get exclusive written content from Adam Johns, Adam Hogue, Mark Carman, Patrick Norton, all doing a fantastic job on the written side of things. So, and we also have a Discord channel where you can communicate with other Bears fans off some of those other crazy websites. So once again, head to allchgo.com/diehard to sign up. Make sure you use the code JOHNS, JAHNS, for $36 for the entire year. All right, we are back here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Shout out Adam Rank. Appreciate him joining us as always. And then there were three here with Phil Ottochian and Shayne Marsaw from the Tape Never Lies Network. Make sure you're subscribed to their channel as always for their passionate content, hard-hitting analysis, tape breakdowns, and everything else. They do a great job. And I appreciate you guys very much, man. This has been a lot of fun this year working with you guys and bringing back, to what we started and what you guys brought me, this world you brought me into. And now we're, 3 games away here from talking about the playoffs. And that, it honestly just put chills down my back. And I know how, and rank 2, how much this means to us on that level as fans and analysts and people that pour into this. And I understand every fan out there is feeling the same way. Like, when we were doing shows in the off season in the summer and talking about all these hypotheticals, I lose my mind doing that. Sometimes they can be fun conversations, but I want to get to the moment, and we are finally here. The moment has arrived, and it's going to be a lot. I just can't wait for Saturday. This is what you wait for as a Bears fan. We've got Danielson, $2 super chat, kind of calling a shot here. Says Packers fall apart. Bears win 42-7. Caleb legacy game.
That would be amazing.
That would certainly be amazing. It would certainly surprise me. However, the one thing I think that was notable from that Broncos-Packers game is when Micah came out, and understandably so, they didn't just look like a team that the Broncos were kind of beating up. They looked demoralized. They really did. And they sustained a lot of injuries. Christian Watson came out.
Don't tell Peter Bukowski that.
That from my eye, fan in the stand eye.
He saw us when we were putting the body blows to him.
Yeah.
We had him on the ropes there.
Yeah.
And so, it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back. I'm sure they're going to put up a fight on Saturday. The Broncos are also a very good team. For as much as the Bears don't get any respect in the NFL, the Broncos still hold the best record in football. There's a very good chance they're going to have home field advantage.
Great pass rush, man.
Great pass rush, and that's always the ultimate equalizer when it comes to winning in the playoffs. John Kramer dropping in as he did a little bit earlier, saying similar to 2013 season finale, but they get a W this time. And let's hope so. If it comes to that, I'm hoping it doesn't come to the final week of the season, but if it does, it's home field advantage against your division and for the right to go to the playoffs. If that's what I think people didn't understand about yesterday. If the Rams won, it drew up that your worst case scenario is that your final game of the season at home against Detroit, a tough opponent, win and you're in. That's their worst case scenario. Now they have many other best case and better case scenarios. And so I think that's kind of what made that Rams game so big. Right in the schnoz, $5 super chat says, I know it's overanalyzed, but I need the 4,000 yards passing. Do you think Caleb gets there this year? I don't. He'd have to average somewhere. Go ahead.
Listen, I understand wanting it. I don't even care. That's not even on my radar. Right. Quite honestly, I want the W's. Give me the W's. The stats are going to come in time. That'll be a thing of the past. You know what I mean? Let them. I mean, the Jets haven't had one since the 60s, and they're a horrible organization. Go concentrate on them getting better. Give me the W's, and the 4,000 yard thing it's not even on my roadmap right now. I don't even care.
Yeah, I agree. And I just think when you look at, the opportunity to do it, they're not in game. Like yesterday, he had a great performance, 234 yards or whatever it was. But he didn't need to throw for 400 yards in that game. And even with him not doing that, he still played very well and played within the offense and threw accurately and moved the football and made unbelievable plays. So they're trying to play winning football. And sometimes that means you got to make calls to run the ball. You're going to play time of possession. This is a different year than last year in the way that Caleb Williams is getting his stats. And so winning is priority over everything right now for Ben Johnson, and as he calls plays. And so averaging 285 passing yards over the last 3 games probably isn't in the cards. And if it is, that means they're probably down multiple scores in these games. And now you're being you actually probably don't want that record to be broke, because it might mean that they're not playing as well as they should be and having to change what they've been doing while they've been on this run.
Yeah, I'm with Shane. You just got to focus on the wins. I think a lot of people just start looking at these things because they've been beaten to death in regards to statements in the Bears and how the organization offensively has been over these years. But situational football and finding a head coach and having the identity, and really, ultimately, these games are like a boxing match, Greg. And when I look at them, I get fired up with Ben sometimes because you want to keep moving the chains. So when I see Cole Kmet fall down and security catch things, it drives me insane because it's all about moving forward, going and get, like when Burden fell down after he made that nice spin and he gets down. Now we got another 3rd and 1, and we got to. You want to keep moving the chains. There was a drive. They didn't have any 3rd downs. I heard the commentator say. Exactly. Those are the drives. That's what you want to see offensively. Running the football, moving those chains, action pass off of it, delays with the tight end. I got to tell you, all hands team, best hands on the football team, Colston, Loveland by far and away. Eye catcher, catching the football. I'm with Shane here. I was not for picking a tight end, but his versatility and his security blanket for this quarterback and this football team is on another level. And I think, we're just scratching the surface of where this guy could be because of those hands. That catch on that 12-yard dagger route going out towards the sideline. I mean,
yep. And
all
the way
hands and his eyes are on it.
Well, and the way he turned over too
Yes.
to protect
And you
the
see
football.
his
That's a
thumbs go
receiver.
out, Greg. So Luther Burden and Odunze, and I called out Antoine Randall out. It's like when the ball is below your chest, down by your hip, you can't put thumbs in. You'll catch 1 or 2 here and there, but I see them too often do that. Like they're going to snag it and they drop the ball. And then all these beat reporters talk about completion percent. That ball's put right there. Thumbs out, catch the ball like you're catching a baby. I always tell my football player, if your little brother, a baby's falling, how are you catching him? You grabbing him, or are you going to catch him with your thumb and saw? That's where these guys have to get. And Loveland has it. We haven't seen that. I was watching Denver and the kid Franklin. I mean, I would do anything for another receiver like that kid. I need another receiver that's going to snag balls no matter where they are, how they're coming, high, low, side. Loveland, man, he gets me excited. He does, moving into the playoffs.
And when we talk about stats, I think another big stat that kind of came across, Robert Lee brings it to the chat, but they brought it up on the broadcast, and this is an important
took
stat.
A bow here.
Caleb Williams only threw 12 interceptions through his first 1,000 passes, and that's an NFL record.
Maybe Carm could wear a T-shirt with that.
That is something I think I'll bring up to Carm here. I've always
I can hear him right now. Well, Tyson would have only thrown 11.
And he's in great. Caleb Williams is in great company too in terms of highest touchdown to interception.
Have you seen the completion percentage, Greg? I mean, that's where it's at.
Yeah, I mean he's up there with Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Tom Brady for highest touchdown interception ratio since the merger, with a minimum of 1,000 pass attempts. So that's the stat. I mean, when you look at the Bears leading the league in takeaways at 30 on defense, and then the way Caleb Williams protects the football, that's certainly been.
But don't you think that would lead a lot of chatter today in Chicago and articles?
You think
stat,
it would?
I mean, that's massive.
Yeah,
that's
an NFL
put him in that group
all-time record.
But yeah, it's
not even
completion percentage is more of what is being
we're living in a
about.
nerd's world with a statistical stat. When you're a football coach, the completion percentage, Greg, means absolutely nothing. How did he play? Why? There's two things in a pass. The catcher has to now catch it. So the quarterback only can control so much. And I think it's a reason why Ben Johnson has to answer these things. And he's like, is this really happening here? Like, he's looking at these dummy reporters. I'm sorry, that's what it is. Asking about this. And it's like, oh my God, the guy is we got to catch the ball. We got to make the play. Yes, he's got to make better throws here and there. But really, ultimately, it's a two-way street, and the completion percentage never really tells any story about the game. It just doesn't.
Well, and I think too, and Adam Hogue's been tracking this in his way of doing the QB report each week of he's tracking the decisions, and then if it's an accurate ball, and kind of putting these in separate kind of categories, and through his tracking of each pass since dating back to, I believe, the Ravens game, he has been tracking the amount of times Caleb Williams throws it out of bounds. And last week I asked him, well, how many has that been since the Ravens game? And he said 30.
30.
And so that's not listed in the accuracy department of each throw he tracks. So then I asked him, okay, well then of those 30 throwaways, how many of those were bad decisions in his estimation? And Adam, like he's going to be an honest grader. I was expecting a different answer. He said 0.
0. The throwaways, yeah.
And I could not. I was like, as much as a guy that is somebody also along with that defends Caleb Williams in this regard, that stat almost seems impossible. And yet Adam's like, no, you can look through it and say of the throwaways, they were good decisions. And I think that's what we're talking about here is how Caleb Williams is playing the quarterback position at a very high level, playing winning football at a very high level while he's developing in Ben Johnson's system. That isn't an easy thing to maneuver and an easy needle to thread of trying to fix flaws and develop and get better in a lot of different areas and learn with your back to the defense and, under all the stuff, but also be somebody that protects the football and somebody that is playing winning football in meaningful games.
I want to just touch on another point because I'm glad Adam's doing that. That's great. And it just showcases how completion percentage shouldn't matter. And there is an agenda to tear down this kid. Let's just all be honest with that. I've seen it for 2 years now. The other thing, what Shane talked about, like that should be the biggest story ever because you haven't had this talent at quarterback ever. But the escapability and the ability to alleviate and manipulate the pocket like no other quarterback in this league right now. Just think about 60-something times picking himself up off the mat. It should have been 150-something times last year. This kid is so magical in the pocket. My uncle Sam Rutigliano, former head coach of the Browns, is like, I have never, maybe Fran Tarkenton, whatever, was able to manipulate a pocket, but this kid is outrunning Myles Garrett. And he's just outrunning people.
Throwing a touchdown around Micah Parsons as he's outrunning him to the sideline.
Just doing things that Bears fans don't even realize how spoiled you are that you can have this kid. I go, well, and he's like, well, that's why I'm glad you and Shane do what you do because you don't tolerate it. And that's how it should be. He deserves to be so applauded. Young kids in Chicago should have his poster on their wall. He's a class kid and just a hard worker. And I just think the pocket stuff is just so amazing sometimes, Greg. I mean, even plays where he's jumping over bodies on the ground to get out and still looking down the field. Yep. I mean, it's just something that I know Matt Waldman touched upon it as well. Just, you can't take this as a grain of salt. There's not many of these guys that come around, and we have our guy.
Absolutely. And, I think, I was going to say it, like just looking back on the last few years, like waiting for this moment to have a quarterback and a head coach combination like they do is a blessing here. So as we reach the top of the hour here, once again, remind everybody to become a diehard at allchgo.com/diehard. And we appreciate every single one of you as we have reached overtime on CHGO Bears After Dark. All right, we're back here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as we are inching towards 100,000 subscribers. We appreciate every single one of you all day, every day. Let's hear from Coach Ben Johnson talking about Caleb Williams. Don't get mad. I think the setup to the question was framed in an accuracy standpoint, but then Ben Johnson gave an answer of the totality of Caleb Williams' play as well. So here is Ben Johnson talking about that after the Browns game here today on Monday, talking to the media.
One more on Caleb. I know the accuracy has been a talking point all year long, and it seemed like it was much better yesterday. Now that you reviewed the film, are there things that you noticed mechanically, or just anything that was really working for Caleb yesterday?
Yeah, he was comfortable. He did a great job, and it's a hard thing to do, is be comfortable when a pass rush is like that. You know that there's Myles Garrett gets all the attention, but across the board, they do a great job collapsing that pocket. He has a lot of confidence in his protection unit up front. I thought those guys did a good job. We had a good plan, I thought, and worked to execute it accordingly. So I know we gave up a few sacks, but I always think it starts there when it comes to the quarterback, and just he's got to have that confidence in the people out in front of him that he's going to have some time to work through his progression. And he certainly looked that way when you turn on the tape. He's taking the drop. His eyes are in the right spot. I think he kind of he was anticipating what coverages they were going to be in, and that was able to help him speed up his play and get through his progressions a little bit cleaner too. So, I thought it was a good week for him, a step in the right direction. And, I told him this afternoon, I said, whatever he ate for breakfast yesterday, we just need to keep doing that on game day from here on out.
Gotta eat your Wheaties. This is going to be a big one. It feels like, Shane, that, whatever you're talking about, accuracy, whatever, development, things that, how this untapped potential of everything that he does so well and how much more they can continue to improve over these next few years, not just these next few games, but it does feel like they're close to reaching that next level of what Ben Johnson's expectations are for this offense.
Yeah, I think you go out and like I said, you kick the door in Saturday and have a good offensive showing. That I think that's where it all starts. Because listen, your bedrock is your running game, and that's where when Phil has preached forever about identity, now you have that. You can rely, like that's why everybody was so fired up on 3rd and 1. And I know Ben came out and said today that, people better get used to that because he's going to base it on what he sees the defense doing. But you have your bedrock, and that's the thing. It really feels like, even with Caleb, even with the completion percentage and those people that were so fired up about that, it just felt like you were 1 or 2 plays away from turning the tide on that whole thing. Like, I felt a confident, and I understand Cleveland's a 3-win team, but when you factor in everything with Myles Garrett, the elements, Rome going out right before the game, I felt an extreme confidence boost in QB1 in Chicago and Caleb Williams. And I think it carried through post game in his demeanor, when was the last time since he's been here that we've seen his reaction to questions like that to reporters? We have not seen that. Things like that. Oh no, I can make any throw. And, Carmen Vitale asks him, the other one, and it seems like they're right there, but now you got your statement win in Philly, but not, like I said, just to repeat myself, now you have to slay the dragon in your division, big time game, national TV. And I'm telling you what, call me a homer, do whatever you want to do. You go out and you put one on Green Bay. It puts everybody in the NFC on notice. It really does.
Yep.
Because you get a young football team with an aggressive head coach and an all-world talent like Caleb Williams at quarterback. You might be surprised where you end up. Adam Rank may have to buy 2 tickets to Santa Clara.
Yeah. I mean, and when you talk about house money, I'm big about must wins and house money.
Yeah.
You make the playoffs in year 1. You win the NFC North in year 1. You can walk into the playoffs where I don't care who you're playing. The pressure is on the other team. You can't lose to the Bears in their first year with the flaws this roster still has. There's things in the offseason that they need to clean up, and there's another level of what this Bears team can be going forward. But hey, live in the now, and they have every opportunity to make a true playoff run. And let's look at the playoff picture here before we take off here on CHGO Bears After Dark. But with the Rams win, they have clinched a playoff spot, so they're in. But they haven't clinched the number 1 seed or even, winning the NFC West. That's all still up for grabs because the NFC West right now has 3 teams with 10 wins or more, which is crazy. You don't see that very often, if ever. So the Rams are at 11-3, and the Bears are the number 2 seed with as Steven kind of put these stats together, 74% probability of making the playoffs at 10-4 and leading the NFC North. And so when you look at that in the hunt, and that's really what you need to focus on, whether it's the Packers at 9-4-1 sitting at that final wild card spot, or the Lions hovering at 8-6 after a loss to the Rams, that's really the 2 teams you're looking at, maybe the Niners included, in the pathway to the playoffs. And here's kind of a look at it if you're watching here on YouTube, and it's kind of laying out the final 3 games of the schedule between the Bears, Lions, Packers, and 49ers. And while those are the 4 teams fighting for these wild card spots, the Bears play all 3 of these teams in the final 3 games. So while we're all dying for the Bears,
control your own destiny, man. That's what
control your own destiny. But it's also, while we all are dying for them to make the playoffs, and let's hope they do, the playoffs start Saturday.
100%, Greg. You stole my thunder here. I go, this is the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is the playoffs. Just get it through your head. This home game, Saturday night, under the lights at Soldier Field in front of the world, that is the playoffs. And that should be the mission statement by the head coach, and I'm sure it is. Like, you kick the door in, slay the dragon, as Shane is saying. Can't say it any better than that, but you go out there and you play your brand of football, and you got nothing to lose. You got everything to gain. That's how you play this game. Now, we could break it down, and Shane was talking a little bit about my concerns are on the defense more so than anything. That's where my concerns are. Offensively, I have a lot of confidence. If Ja'Day Walker's playing, I still have confidence in what we have, right? Defensively, I have my concerns with some of these things.
We lost to the Packers a lot without Micah Parsons.
Exactly.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see it all play out. Ro Ramey in the chat saying the Soldier Field will be rocking. No question about it. Once again, just got to give you
going to that game, Greg?
I'm not.
What?
Yeah, it's the hottest ticket in town for one. I mean, if somebody
someone must have a ticket for it.
Speaking of rocking, Bears fans, make it rock when Green Bay is on offense, not when your team is on offense. It drove me nuts yesterday having your quarterback having to instruct the crowd to be quiet. It's just like, come on, man. Football 101.
That's been something we haven't been great about for years. And it's because we're not used to good offenses and good football teams that need that quiet to operate. And we're just really excited, Shane. That's the problem. And you got to yell to stay warm when it's -20. But
You're allowed to chant Green Bay sucks at this game. There you go.
I've personally banned
wanna
it
see
from
that.
my
I know you have.
yeah, for any phrasing for me, I'm done with it. So I know everybody likes to say FGB, but I think they're saying, Greg Braggs. I get that. But regardless, it's the Green Bay sucks is something that's eliminated from my vernacular here at this point. And so got a few more super chats to come in here. John Kramer, once again, dropping a bunch of super chats. We appreciate you, John, saying
Thanks, John.
Packers without 11 equals Bears win by 7+. And then he also added in, also first time super chatter and has been watching since day one. So, and I appreciate that immensely. I know there's, I always appreciate when people say that, like, hey, I've been watching a long time, never commented before. And so I know there's a lot of loud viewers that really want to make their opinions and their voice heard, but I know there's many out you that are the silent contributors to what we do, what I do, what Phil and Shane do, and you guys are immensely appreciated. So I think that wraps things up for tonight. You got a big week here ahead. It's gonna fly by quick. I've been booking guests left and right for the CHGO Bears podcast. Tim Jenkins will be joining tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Central. We start at 1 p.m. Central with Adam Hogan, Mark Harmon as well. We got a few more special guests planned for the rest of the week as well, but stay tuned for those updates. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you once again to Adam Rank, and thank you again to all of you that have tuned in here tonight. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Enjoy your Victory Monday. And it's officially Packer Week. And as I always like to say to end the program, keep your head up and always bear down.
Bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.